Good morning and good evening. Thank you all for joining this conference call. Now we will begin the conference out of fiscal year 2021 third quarter earnings results by Samsung Electronics. This conference will start with a presentation, followed by a divisional Q&A session. If you have a question, please press star one, that is star and one on the phone during the Q&A. For cancellation, please press star two, that is star and two on your phone. Now we shall commence the presentation on the fiscal year 2021 third quarter earnings results by Samsung Electronics.
Welcome, everyone. This is Ben Seo from Investor Relations. Thank you for joining our third quarter 2021 earnings call. For additional details regarding our quarterly results, please refer to our earnings presentation, which is available on our IR website at www.samsung.com/global/IR. On the call with me today, representing each of the business units are EVP Han Jin-man, representing Memory, VP Jo Jang-ho for System LSI, SVP Han Seung-hoon for Foundry, SVP Choi Kwon-young for Samsung Display, VP Kim Sung-gu for IT and Mobile, and VP Song Won-jun for Visual Display. In addition, VP Kang Tae-gyu from Investor Relations is present on this call as well. I would like to remind you that some of the statements we will be making today are forward-looking, based on the environment as we currently see it. All such statements are subject to certain risks and uncertainties that may cause our actual results to be materially different from those expressed in today's discussion. Before we present our quarterly results, let me first address the third quarter dividend. Today, the board of directors approved a quarterly dividend of 361 won per share for both common and preferred stock. The total payout for the third quarter is the same as it was for the first and second quarters, which is 2.45 trillion won, or 1/4 of the 2021 annual total of 9.8 trillion won, in accordance with the shareholder return policy we announced in January. The dividend will be paid in mid-November. Now I would like to present the results for the third quarter. Despite numerous macro uncertainties in the third quarter, such as global supply chain issues and persistent effects of COVID-19, by actively leveraging our leading technology, outstanding product competitiveness, and differentiated global SCM capabilities, we once again delivered record results. Total revenue for the quarter was 74 trillion won, up 16.2% sequentially, with all of our major businesses seeing revenue growth, highlighted by solid sales of foldables and other smartphones, as well as increases in both memory shipments and OLED sales. We have set new records for total revenue in a respective quarter for 3 quarters in a row, and we expect that annual revenue will be well above the previous all-time mark set in 2018. Compared to last year's result, which was our previous all-time high for any quarter, revenue grew 10.5%, driven mainly by memory and OLED. Gross profit increased by 4.5 trillion won sequentially to 31.1 trillion won on the back of cost reductions in memory, mainly from advanced process migrations. There was also a slight rise in gross margin. SG&A expenses came in at 15.3 trillion won, up 1.2 trillion won quarter-on-quarter, primarily due to an increase in advertising and promotional costs. As a percentage of sales, however, they declined by 1.4 percentage points as sales significantly outgrew the SG&A increase. Operating profit increased by 3.3 trillion won quarter-on-quarter to 15.8 trillion won, our second highest total ever, as the component business improved significantly, backed by continued favorable conditions in the memory market and robust sales in the foundry and DP businesses. Our finished product businesses also delivered solid results. Operating margin improved by 1.6 percentage points. On a year-on-year basis, both operating profit and operating margin increased substantially, propelled by our component businesses. I will now briefly review the results of each business unit. For memory, results improved significantly as we actively addressed customer demand, which led to record quarterly bit shipment, as well as the second highest ever revenue for DRAM. Also, costs were reduced by expanding sales of 15nm DRAM and 128-layer VNAND. In foundry, results improved, backed by strong demand from our global customers. In display, mobile panel earnings improved sequentially on effects of product launches by major smartphone customers. However, the large panel business continued to post losses, mainly due to declines in LCD ASP. For the mobile business, results improved sequentially thanks to expanded sales of our new foldable models and low to mid-range smartphones, along with sales growth of products in the device ecosystem lineup. For network, we expanded our business overseas, including in North America and Japan, as we continued to address 5G network demand in the domestic market as well. In the CE division, despite the strong expansion of our premium TV and bespoke lineups, profitability declined due to rising material and logistics costs. Regarding currency effects, strengths in most major currencies against the Korean won, especially the US dollar, had a positive effect on the component business in particular, with a combined impact of approximately 800 billion won on our operating profit compared to the previous quarter. Next, I would like to share our business outlook. In the fourth quarter, we will focus on actively meeting demand for memory and system semiconductors, although component shortages at some customers may have an effect. We will also maintain solid profitability in our finished product businesses by strengthening our leadership and lineups in the premium segment. For memory, there may be increased demand risk due to longer than expected component supply issues, but we will actively address strong fundamental demand for servers resulting from increased investments by major IT companies. For system semiconductors, we expect to increase supply of SoCs and related products for mobile phones slated for launch in 2022. And for foundry, we expect results to improve considerably as we aggressively address demand for advanced processes. For display, we expect the mobile panel business to achieve solid results backed by steady demand for smartphones and expanded sales in new applications. In the large panel business, we are on track to begin mass production of QD display as planned, but we expect losses to continue due to price declines in LCD panels. In the mobile business, we aim to secure robust profitability by expanding sales of premium products such as foldables, actively targeting replacement demand with expanded sales of low to mid-range 5G smartphones, and increasing sales of tablets and wearables. In the CE division, we will endeavor to expand sales with a focus on promotion of premium products amid seasonally strong year-end demand. Now let's move on to our outlook for 2022. Amid anticipation that global IT demand will recover, the component business will focus on expanding the advanced node portion of production and enhancing our leadership in next-generation products and technology. In the finished product business, we will prioritize achieving solid profitability by continuing to strengthen our leadership and lineups in the premium segment. However, there are likely to be uncertainties related to component supply disruptions and the living with COVID-19 transition as more people are vaccinated. For the memory business, we will strive to boost cost competitiveness with volume production of 14nm DRAM and 7th generation VNAND, and also enhance market leadership by expanding mass production of next generation products based on our industry-leading EUV technology. System LSI will expand its business by reinforcing its lineup of SoCs, including for models in the volume zone. And we expect Foundry to continue to deliver strong improvement in results by addressing growing customer demand through active investments and by technology leadership, such as bringing to production the industry's first 3-nanometer gate-all-around process. For display, in the mobile panel business, we expect OLED portion of the market to increase with the rising penetration of 5G amid a recovery of smartphone demand. And we will closely monitor the supply of some components, such as DDIs. The large panel business will strive to secure a position in the premium TV segment with QD display. The mobile business will pursue sales growth and profitability improvements by strengthening its presence in the premium market with expanded sales of our flagship lineup, including our increasingly popular foldables, as well as via an enhanced lineup of 5G smartphones for the mass market. At the same time, we will keep fostering the tablet and wearable businesses while also continuing to develop industry-leading technologies. For network, we will continue to enhance our hardware with custom 5G chips and strengthen software-based virtualization solutions for future growth. And we will also pursue continued expansion overseas. For C, overall demand is likely to soften as the world transitions to living with COVID-19, but we will focus on proactively capturing growing demand from premium TVs and increasing global sales of bespoke products. Let me now move on to capital expenditures. CapEx in the third quarter was 10.2 trillion won, with 9.1 trillion won invested in semiconductor and 0.7 trillion won in display. The cumulative total as of the end of the third quarter is 33.5 trillion won, with 30 trillion won in semiconductor and 2.1 trillion won in display. Looking at each business up to the end of the third quarter, memory concentrated its investments on expected 22 demand growth and readiness for next-gen products such as DDR5, with capacity expansions and process migrations at our fabs in Pyeongtaek and Xi'an. And it also invested in longer-term readiness, such as infrastructure at P3. For foundry, investments focused on capacity expansion for advanced EUV nodes in Pyeongtaek. Display investments centered on accelerating the transition to new technology through expanding capacity for QD display as well as mobile modules. We are maintaining our policy to invest flexibly in line with market conditions, and given growing uncertainties, including those over component supply, we are carefully reviewing fourth quarter CapEx, and as such, we will not be providing a forecast for annual CapEx for 2021 at this earnings call. Finally, I would like to share some of our key activities and achievements in sustainability management. On October 20th, the leading brand consultant, Interbrand, announced its list of the 100 best global brands, and our company ranked 5th for the second consecutive year. Our brand was valued at $74.6 billion, a 20% increase compared to last year. We ranked the highest and saw the biggest growth among non-U.S. companies, and we also far surpassed the list average growth rate. Our reorganization to a customer-centric management system, sustainability activities, and releases of innovative products were highly valued as we reaffirmed our position as a global top 5 brand. On October 12th, Forbes released its annual list of the world's best employers, and our company took the top position for a second consecutive year. We believe this achievement recognizes our numerous positives, including the company's prioritization of employees' health and safety in our COVID-19 response, outstanding performance, strengthened ESG activities, healthy corporate culture, and professional development opportunities. In August, we unveiled Galaxy for the Planet, the mobile business's sustainability vision for the Galaxy ecosystem. The vision outlines a set of initial goals that we aim to reach by 2025, including incorporating recycled materials into all of our new Galaxy products, and also achieving zero waste to landfill at our mobile work sites around the world. Galaxy for Planet is a continuation of our efforts to create a sustainable future across the lifespan of our products, from production to usage to disposal, as well as throughout our overall business operations to tackle climate change. Moreover, we aim to spearhead the transition to a circular economy through the reuse and recycling of resources. In August of 2021, the Ministry of Environment gave us and cooperating companies final approval for a new process to be defined as recycling technology under domestic law. This new technology involves the reuse of wastewater sludge generated during the semiconductor manufacturing to produce supplementary material in the steelmaking process. Cooperative efforts between Samsung, Hyundai Steel, and Post Ceramics began in August 2020 with the signing of a technology agreement and resulted in the successful production of steel in April 2021 at Hyundai Steel's Dangjin site by using 30 tons of fluoride alternative products. This new technology was approved after it was reviewed by the National Institute of Environmental Research. And because the technology enables replacing a mineral that cannot be sourced domestically, it is recognized as the most exemplary case of ESG commitment towards resource circulation since the Ministry of Environment established its recycling environmental assessment system in 2016. In September, Samsung received product carbon footprint label certification for 4 of our new flagship System LSI products, joining previously certified memory chips from the UK's Carbon Trust. We now have certifications for 14 semiconductor products. Semiconductor manufacturing has a particularly challenging road to certification due to its numerous complex processes and need for large quantities of various types of raw materials. However, we passed the strict international assessment standards backed by results of our various efforts to reduce carbon emissions. We will continue to strive to minimize carbon emissions with initiatives such as reducing the amount of gas required in our semiconductor manufacturing process, enhancing the efficiency of greenhouse gas treatment equipment, and applying solutions to reduce energy consumption throughout the manufacturing process. I will now turn the conference call over to gentlemen from each business unit to present third quarter performances and outlooks for their corresponding business segment. We will start with the memory business. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Han-Jin Man from the Memory Global Sales and Marketing Office. Third quarter, the price situation remained favorable and demand, centering on servers, stayed strong. We improved our performance significantly compared to the previous quarter by actively addressing customer demand and reducing costs by expanding the portion of production using cutting-edge processes. In the case of DRAM for server, demand continued to grow as adoption of a new high-core CPU that was released in the first half of the year expanded. Demand from set builds stayed solid and content per box increased. For mobile, despite effects on set builds related to supply issues of some components, such as application processors, the demand recovery has become more visible thanks to releases of new products by major manufacturers and the base effect of the second quarter, which was affected by somewhat weak demand. For PC, demand from end users has also been robust due to changes such as workplaces opting for hybrid work patterns alongside strong seasonal effects. However, set build growth has been limited by supply constraints and logistics issues for some components. In graphics, memory demand expanded on a rise in demand for graphics cards due to a revitalization of crypto mining and the continuing strong demand from game console, which is in peak season. Despite a resurgence of COVID-19 in major production countries and component supply issues that led to disruptions in set builds, along with weakening demand from customer PCs, we actively responded to demand by flexibly operating our product mix. We set a new record for quarterly DRAM shipments, backed in particular by significant growth in server sales, and we met our original guidance, not to mention the enhancement we made to cost competitiveness by increasing the 15-nano portion of production. Next, I will talk about the NAND market. For server SSDs, along with increased investment by major server customers, enterprise demand recovered. And based on the high capacity trend spurred by new CPU adoptions, demand was strong from data centers for high capacity products. In the case of mobile, demand has been solid due to the launch of new models and increases in content per box by major customers as we enter strong seasonality. For clients SSD, and demand was strong due to a resumption of office work, but memory demand was weak due to a disruption in set builds caused by component supply issues and inventory adjustment by some customers. In response to growing demand for server SSDs, we expanded sales of high-capacity products of 8 terabyte and above, and increased our production portion of 128-layer products, which led to another quarter of growth. Next, let me tell you about our fourth quarter outlook. In the case of DRAM, we expect fundamental demand for server to stay strong, thanks to the new CPU adoption and expansion of data center investment. However, we need to keep monitoring impacts of the longer than expected component supply issues on set builds. For mobile, manufacturers are likely to continue to launch new 5G models, but there are chances that growth of purchasing demand could be limited due to inventory adjustment at some customers, along with impacts of supply chain issues. For PCs, we expect set build growth to stay similar compared to the last quarter, given ongoing uncertainties over the supply of some components and impacts of weakening demand from consumer PCs. We will actively address fundamental demand from major server customers and aim for full-fledged sales to PCs adopting new CPUs and lead the formation of a market ecosystem that is based on mass production of DDR5 for high-end gaming. In addition, we will continue to strengthen our cost competitiveness by maximizing the portion of production using cutting-edge technologies such as 50-nano processors. In case of NAND, for server SSD, as business activities normalize alongside increasing vaccination rates and continued growth in enterprise IT budgets, we expect the high capacity trend for server SSDs to continue and demand to be robust. However, we should keep an eye on the component supply issues. For mobile, demand is likely to be solid based on 5G market expansions and a high capacity trend with the spread of new models. We also need to monitor impacts of supply chain disruptions on the set build. In the PC market, more and more companies are expected to resume office work in the second half, so we expect replacement demand for enterprise PCs to pick up. The demand for memory purchases may slow slightly due to the impact of inventory adjustment at some customers. We will secure a stable supply chain based on our strong SCM management system and maintain our differentiation strategy by continuously expanding our portion of high-value products, while actively responding to overall server demand and also expanding our lineup of mobile products. Now let's move on to the outlook for next year. First, considering macro uncertainties such as the timing of mitigating component supply issues, influences of living with COVID policies amid increasing vaccination rates and raw material pricing issues, we ask for your understanding in that it is difficult to provide specific prospect or guidance. Therefore, I'd like to provide a rough outline of the market based on our present forecast. Although the mentioned uncertainties may impact demand in the memory market next year, the pandemic led global consumers to experience more online-based social activities and lifestyles, which has been called the new normal. And we think most of the demand in the new normal will persist as a part of our lives. For server and PC under those social shifts, we expect fundamental demand to be robust, with the trend toward high capacity following the expanding new CPU adoption and continued growth of enterprise IT investment. For mobile, we expect shipment growth and high capacity trend to continue with the increase in low to mid-priced 5G models, and also as manufacturers launch products with new form factors. However, since almost all applications are feeling effects of the longer than expected component supply issue, the timing of resolving such issues is the key to increasing visibility of fundamental demand in each application. Furthermore, we expect demand for consumer and graphics segment also to be robust, as the Beijing Winter Olympics have potential to spur increased penetration of premium TVs and the move to high capacity, while demand is likely to be strong for VGA in high-end PCs for AI accelerators in the HB market. As we continue to expand the portion of 15nm DRAM and 128-layer VNAND, based on preemptive product mix management that is aligned with market situation, we will proactively address the server market, where demand is likely to grow thanks to new adoptions of DDR5 with rising penetration of a high-core CPU. And we will also preemptively secure demand for NAND solution products. Moreover, while expanding mass production of 14nm DRAM and 176-layer VNAND, we will continue to strengthen our market competitiveness based on stable cost reduction through next generation processes and products. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Eric Cho from the System LSI business. In the third quarter, earnings improved due to increased demand for SoCs and DDIs as major mobile customers launched new products. In particular, the strong demand of DDIs amid continued share supply contributed greatly to earnings improvements via efficient execution of pricing strategies. And we reaffirmed our leadership in mobile image sensor market by introducing ISOCELL HEP1, the industry's first 200 megapixel image sensor, and 50 megapixel ISOCELL Gen 5, the industry's smallest dual pixel image sensor, featuring more fast and accurate autofocus. Now let me talk about the outlook of fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, we expect earnings to continue to increase due to our higher mass production of mobile SoCs and related products for launches of new 5G smartphone products in 2022 by major smartphone companies. The company aims to achieve even higher double-digit annual sales growth by maximizing its chip supply capabilities via strengthening foundry cooperation and flexibly adjusting product mix. In 2022, we plan to improve our performance through meaningful gains in the SoC business, such as by expanding supply of 5G SoC products for the volume zone, as well as for the new flagship products that feature enhanced GPU performance. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Sean Han from the Foundry business. In the third quarter, we improved our earnings sequentially and set a new record high for third quarter as we significantly increased supply of key products such as advanced process to our global customers with the expansion of mass production at Pyeongtaek S5 line. In addition, we secured a stable sales base by winning new orders for advanced processes from global customers, and we continue our technological leadership by completing the development of the first generation of GAA, Gate-All-Around process design infrastructure for early mass production of 3 nano in 2022. In the fourth quarter, the demand for advanced and mature processes are likely to stay strong, and we expect to set new records for results by maximizing supply, with revenue growing by more than 10%. On top of that, the company plans to continue its technological leadership by completing design of first generation GAA 3 nano products and developing second generation GAA process design infrastructure for 3 nano. In the foundry market in 2022, we expect supply to remain tight due to increased silicon consumption for 5G mobile, solid GPU center demand for HPCs, strong CPU demand due to intensifying competition, and solid demand for 8-inch legacy products and consumer applications. We aim to continue to grow by actively investing to expand supply for advanced processes of 5 nano and below, and we also plan to pursue qualitative growth by expanding global customer sales and normalizing prices for sustainable future investment. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kwon-Young Choi from the business planning team at Samsung Display. In the third quarter, the mobile display business recorded sequential growth in sales and profit as smartphone sales remained brisk, owing to launches of new flagship phones by major customers. In particular, our profitability improved with the sales of expansion of high-end products such as foldable phones, leading us to achieve our highest ever third quarter profit. Meanwhile, the large display business has been affected by LCD panel price declines, and its loss increased to some extent quarter-on-quarter. However, the loss narrowed year-on-year as we started phasing out sales of LCD panels from this year in line with the transition of production lines to QD display. Next, let me share our outlook for the fourth quarter. For the mobile display business, we expect the demand for major customers' new products to stay solid, and at the same time, sales of laptops and gaming devices will grow amid effects of peak seasonality. As a result, we expect the mobile display business to achieve solid revenue and profits in the fourth quarter. For the large display business, given our plan to start mass production and supply of QD products, we will channel all our efforts to ensure the successful debut of our QD displays. Finally, I will share our outlook for the display market in the display business core strategies for 2022. For the mobile display business, we expect the environment for the OLED business to remain favorable, fueled by a recovery in smartphone demand, thanks to an accelerating return to daily lives and wider availability of 5G networks. Moreover, we expect sales of OLED panels in applications other than smartphones, including laptops and tablets, and to start in earnest in 2022. We at Samsung Display will do our best to capitalize on such trends as new growth engine. However, there are still concerns stemming from a supply crunch of components such as DDIs. So we'll thoroughly monitor supply chains and take preemptive measures against the potential risks in order to provide products to our customers as scheduled. For the large display business, we'll complete the reorganization of the business from LCD to QD display as planned, and focus on securing leadership in the premium TV segments with QD display. Thank you for listening.
Good morning. This is Sung-Gu Kim from the Mobile Communications business. I would like to discuss the IM division's Q3 results and the outlook for Q4 and 2022. In Q3 2021, market demand is expected to have increased quarter-on-quarter due to alleviating influences of COVID-19. For our mobile business, revenue increased compared to the previous quarter, despite supply constraints in the overall industry. Smartphone sales have increased quarter-on-quarter, led by strong sales of Z Fold 3 and Z Flip 3, which are being very well received in the market with their distinct experiences, including sophisticated designs, under-display camera, S Pen, and water resistance, to name a few. Sales of our enhanced mass market lineup also contributed to the performance. In addition, device ecosystem products such as wearables have contributed strong growth. We maintained a solid double-digit operating profit margin, while increased marketing investments aimed at mainstreaming the foldable category had some effect on profitability. For the network business, we have enhanced our foundation for growth in 5G by expanding our business overseas, including in North America and Japan, and by actively responding to domestic demand for 5G network deployments. Now let me move on to the Q4 outlook. We expect market demand to increase quarter-on-quarter as a result of year-end seasonality, although uncertainties over component supply constraints are likely to linger. In our mobile business, we will continue to strive to further expand premium smartphone sales with bespoke edition to focus customers' aspirations on our foldable Z series, while also maintaining sales momentum of Galaxy S series. At the same time, we will proactively target replacement demand and the growing 5G market with our competitive 5G lineup for the mass market. In addition, we will increase sales of device ecosystem products, including wearables, PCs, tablets, by promoting easier, more convenient connected experiences. By doing so, we expect to maintain double-digit operating margin. For the network business, we will push for business growth in global markets like North America and Southwest Asia. Now let me share our outlook for the next year. Although risk of continuing COVID-19 is likely to persist, we expect the smartphone market to continue its growth, and the market for the wearable devices, which provide consumer with new experiences and values, to maintain growth in the double digits. For the mobile business, we will strive to strengthen our leadership in the premium market by further enhancing product attractiveness and differentiated experiences of our flagship products. As for our foldable Z series, we will continue to further the distinct competitive advantage based on our unmatched innovative technologies and outstanding user experiences, and also provide Samsung's unique differentiation, such as bespoke edition. We will drive mainstreaming of the foldable category and establish it as a very important category within premium market. Regarding our mass market smartphones, we will continue to extend convenient and unique premium experiences and also actively address diverse regional demands with optimized products such as mass market 5G smartphones. Furthermore, we will strive to maximize customer retention and enhance customer trust and aspiration on our products to solidify our position as a premium brand by providing Samsung's unique value with consistent try to achieve solid performance growth in 2022. Also, for our foundation for growth in longer term, we will persistently work on not only developing advanced technologies, but also collaborating openly and inclusively with global leading companies. For the network business, we will continue to address expansion of the domestic 5G network and continue to seek opportunities to grow in overseas markets, including North America, Japan, Southwest Asia, and Europe. In addition, we will proactively prepare for the future by strengthening product competitiveness based on our own 5G chips and further advancing 5G virtualization solutions. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Song Won-jun from Sales and Marketing Team of Visual Display. I'd like to review the market conditions and our performance of CE business in the third quarter of 2021. In Q3, ahead of peak seasonality, the TV market demand increased quarter-on-quarter, but decreased compared to last year when affected by strong pent-up demand. With a focus of mix improvements, Samsung expanded sales of premium products such as Neo QLED and lifestyle products. In particular, newly launched Neo QLED has received good reviews from major magazines and consumers, and we are seeing strong sales amid the related such positive responses. Also, lifestyle products are being recognized for their differentiated value in the market, which have also helped boost sales. Against this backdrop, Samsung focused on profitability by actively improving product mix and cost efficiency. However, because of the increase in the cost due to material prices and global logistics issues, profit decreased both quarter-on-quarter and year-on-year. For digital appliances in the third quarter, market demand increased slightly year-on-year, thanks to the expansion of demand for new home appliances led by the changes in consumer lifestyles. However, market growth slowed down quarter-on-quarter as effects of pent-up demand declined with the increase in vaccine supply. External environment also deteriorated because material prices and logistics costs raised. We responded to various consumers' needs by expanding bespoke lineup and launching it in even more countries, while also introducing new home appliances. Through this, we improved sales both quarter-on-quarter and year-on-year, despite the slowdown of market growth. Even so, profitability inched down due to impacts of low material price and logistics costs. Now let us look at the outlook for fourth quarter and for 2022. We expect demand in Q4 to rise quarter-on-quarter thanks to effects of strong end-of-year seasonality. However, reduced effects of pent-up demand, along with an increase in out-of-home activities, are likely to cause TV demand to fall year-on-year. The market outlook for Q4 is very different from what it was pre-COVID-19. While sales in offline stores are expanding again, with a move to a living with COVID policy, mainly in advanced markets, demand in a year-on-year shopping season may be dispersed throughout the quarter due to a reluctance by customers to gather in large numbers, and strength in the online and non-contact sales trend is expected to continue. Based on close cooperation with channel partners, we are establishing a sales strategy that can preemptively respond to such changes in the market. We will optimize promotion periods to align with desperate demand and offline stores and will induce upselling with premium-focused promotion, thereby expanding sales of strategic products such as QLED and lifestyle. Furthermore, by improving Samsung's online sales infrastructure, we will provide consumers with a more convenient and easier to use online purchase platform and expand non-contact sales opportunities through online promotions tailored to each country. Moreover, based on Samsung's global SCM capabilities, we will minimize logistics risks and focus on securing profitability through optimized operation and efficient cost management. For digital appliances in the fourth quarter, we expect the increase in demand for home appliances to slow as more regions transited to a living with COVID policy, which has continued from the third quarter. Also, new material prices and logistics costs are likely to continue to rise. We plan to accelerate the global expansion of Bespoke and continue its growth by bolstering year-end promotion and online marketing. In addition, we will optimize supply efficiency by region by responding to risks in the external environment and pursue profitability improvements by expanding sales with a focus on premium products. Regarding demand for the TV market in 2022, the growth trend, which continued until the end of the first half of 2021, is expected to reverse. And social and economic uncertainties related to COVID-19 as well as supply and logistics issues are likely to increase continually. However, we expect demand to premium products such as super big screen TVs and OLED, QLED products to keep growing in 2020. We will focus on improving our mix of high value-added products by targeting the rising demand via technological innovation in premium products, including Neo QLED, AK, and Micro LED. Furthermore, we will continue to add to growth momentum by creating sales opportunities with our differentiated lifestyle products to actively address consumers' growing interest in diverse lifestyle value that emerged during COVID-19. In the digital appliances market in 2022, the market is expected to continue to slow down in growth following the second half of 2021 as consumers spend less time at home. However, we expect that market demand stays at a similar level of 2021 because of an increase in the penetration rate of new home appliances. We will solidify brand image of providing customized products that meet the needs of consumers by introducing a new lineup and expecting global sales of our differentiated bespoke products. In addition, we will enhance our supply competitiveness by improving productivity and strengthening our SCM competitiveness so that we can respond flexible to external changes such as an increase in logistics costs. Based on this, we will continue to grow and lead the home appliance industry. Thank you.
Thank you. That sums up the third quarter results presentations. Before we move on to the Q&A session, I would like to share several data points in key business areas. For DRAM in the third quarter, our bit growth was a percentage in the low single digits, and ASP increased by a high single-digit percentage. For the fourth quarter, we expect market bit growth to be flat and ours to be around the market level. For the full year, we maintain our forecast of market growth in the mid-20% range and that our bit growth should be similar. For NAND in the third quarter, our bit growth was a mid-single digit, and ASP increased by around 10%. For the fourth quarter, we expect market bit growth of a mid-single digit percentage, and our bit growth should be slightly higher than market. For 2021 as a whole, we still expect market bit growth percentage to be in the low 40s, but now believe our bit growth will slightly outperform the market. In the display panel business in the third quarter, our OLED portion of sales was in the mid-90% range, and OLED sales volume growth was a percentage in the low 20s. In the mobile business in the third quarter, sales volume was approximately 72 million units for handsets and 7 million units for tablets. The blended ASP, including tablets, was around $250, and the smartphone portion of handset shipments was in the mid-90% range. For the fourth quarter, on a sequential basis, we project that handset shipments will decline and that tablet shipments and blended ASP will increase. The smartphone portion of handset shipments is likely to be in the mid to high 90% range. In the TV business, sales volume in the third quarter increased by a mid-single digit percentage. For the fourth quarter, we expect growth to be in the low 20% range. For the full year, we forecast that sales volume will decline in the low 10% range. With that, I will now move on to the Q&A session. First, we will start by taking questions from the conference call.
지금부터 질의응답을 시작하겠습니다. 질문을 하실 분은 전화기 버튼의 별표와 1번을 눌러주시기 바랍니다. 질문을 취소하시려면 별표와 2번을 눌러주시면 됩니다. Now Q&A session will begin. Please press star 1, that is star and 1 if you have any questions. Questions will be taken according to the order you have pressed star and number 1. For cancellation, please press star 2, that is star and 2 on the phone. 처음으로 질문해 주실 분은 한화투자증권의 이순학 님입니다. The first question will be presented by Sunak Lee from Hanwha Investment & Securities. Please go ahead with your question.
네, 질문 기회 감사합니다. 저는 투자와 디스플레이 관련 질문을 각각 드리겠습니다. 3분기까지 보면 누적 설비 투자 규모가 전년 대비 증가한 것 같은데 각 사업 부문별로 세부적인 내용을 좀 부탁드리고요. 캐펙스 전망치는 제시하지 않는다 하셨는데 구체적이진 않더라도 올해와 내년 각각 컬러에 대해서만 좀 말씀해 주실 수 있으면 좋겠습니다. 두 번째 질문은 LCD와 QD 디스플레이 내용입니다. LCD 다운사이클 진입에 따른 가격 하락이 지속되고 있는데 이게 LCD 사업의 출구 전략을 앞당길 수 있는지와 구체적인 생산 종료 일정을 제시해 주시면 고맙겠고요. 또한 4분기 양산 예정인 QD 디스플레이에 대한 현황에 대해 좀 설명 부탁드립니다.
I have two questions. The first question is about your capex. I think YTD third quarter, your capex this year has increased versus last year. Can you give us a detailed breakdown of that capex by each of the business divisions? You said that you are not able to provide a full year guidance on your capex, but still, can you give us some color as to your capex this year and what you expect to see next year? Second question is about the display business. First of all, the LCD is going through a down cycle. ASPs are falling. Would that mean that you may actually stop your LCD production faster than originally scheduled? And if so, when do you plan to stop your LCD production? Fourth quarter would also be the start of your QD display mass production. Can you give us some updates on how that is going?
네, 먼저 투자 관련된 질문은 전사 이슈로 IR팀에서 대답하겠습니다. 저희의 3분기 누계 기준 올해 투자는 33.5조 원인데 반도체 투자가 늘어난 영향으로 지난해 대비 증가했고 메모리와 파운드리 모두 투자가 증가를 했습니다.
Yes, to answer your first question, our YTD third quarter capex is currently at 33.5 trillion won. This is mainly attributed to the increase in semiconductor-related investments. Both our memory as well as foundry investments have increased versus last year.
그리고 메모리의 경우 기본적으로 중장기 수요 대응에 중점을 두면서 시장 변화에 맞춰 탄력적으로 설비 투자를 집행하는 기조에는 변화가 없지만, 그렇기 때문에 4분기 투자 또한 유연하게 집행을 할 예정입니다. 그래서 저희가 갖고 있던 그 기존 계획 대비 변동성이 있기 때문에 이번에 연전망을 제시하지 않았습니다. 그렇지만 금년 투자 증가는 22년 수요 증가 대응을 위한 증설 투자 영향도 일부 있지만, 공정 난이도 증가하고 DDR5 등 차세대 제품의 다이 사이즈가 커지는 등 공급 증가 제약 요건을 만회하기 위한 측면하고, 그리고 원가 경쟁력 향상을 위해서 공정 전환하고 향후 수요 적시 대응을 위한 우리 P3 건설 인프라 투자 등 기술 경쟁력 확대하고 미래 준비 투자 영향도 상당 부분 존재합니다.
To give you some details of the investments, in the case of memory, our investment or capex policy remains the same in that we do focus on being able to respond to mid to long-term demand, but also in terms of executing equipment investments to make that flexible depending on the market situation. And so, yes, we will continue to maintain flexibility as we execute our investments during the fourth quarter. Given the remaining uncertainties, we're not able to provide you fuller guidance on our capex. But overall, when we look at the investments for this year, there are several areas where these investments are being used. There are definitely investments that we're making in order to increase our capacity to respond to the expected increase in demand next year. But also some of the investments are being made in order to offset some of the decrease in supply that happens as we move up to more advanced nodes, and also the die size penalty that happens with next generation products such as DDR5. At the same time, another piece of that investment is being made to continue to maintain our technology competitiveness and as investments for the future in order to, for example, make successful process migrations to gain greater cost competitiveness, as well as, for example, the infrastructure investments we're making in P3 in order to have the capabilities to capture demand in the future.
그리고 파운드리는 선단 공정 수요가 계속 증가하고 있기 때문에 저희는 여기에 적극 대응하기 위해서 그 신규 평택 S5 라인 생산 규모를 확대하였고, 그리고 이와 더불어 기술 리더십 강화와 미래 대응을 위한 설비 투자와 필수 클린룸 준비도 선제적으로 준비를 하고 있습니다. 그리고 내년 방향성도 문의를 하셨는데, 사실은 아직 저희 내년 경영 계획도 확정되지 않은 상황에서 현재 방향성 제시가 좀 어려운 것을 양해해 주시기 바랍니다.
Some of the detailed investments that we made on the foundry side includes investments necessary to increase the production scale of our new Pyeongtaek S5 line, given the fact that we do see increased demand, especially for the advanced nodes. Also, we're making future investments to maintain our technology leadership, also the equipment investments to respond to future demand, as well as some preemptive preparations of essential clean room facilities. You've also asked for some color for next year, but we are still actually working on our business plan for next year, so we are not able to provide you with greater details about next year's capex expectations.
네, 디스플레이 부분 답변드리겠습니다. 두 가지 질문 주셨는데요. 먼저 LCD 엑시트 전략을 말씀하셨는데 아마 LCD 라인 클로징으로 생각하겠습니다. 현재 저희 아시는 것처럼 당사는 고객사의 LCD 패널 공급 요청으로 현재 생산을 이어나가고 있고 아마 연말까지 이어질 것으로 생각하고 있습니다. 내년 이후에 추가 연장 여부에 대해서는 현재 내부 검토 중이고요. 아마 현재 금방 질문하신 것처럼 LCD 패널 판가가 급속히 하락하는 상황에서 지금 고객사 요구까지를 감안해서 저희가 굉장히 탄력적으로 지금 아마 결정될 걸로 판단되고 있습니다.
To answer your first question, yes, we are continuing to produce LCD panels. That is at the request of our customers. We are planning to at least continue production until end of this year. The question is whether to continue production even next year. Currently, we're reviewing that, and we will actually exercise quite a lot of flexibility as we make that decision, considering both the market situation, where, as you mentioned, the LCD panel ASPs is rapidly falling, but also the demand from our customers.
네, 그리고 두 번째 질문 주신 QD 디스플레이에 대해서는 저희가 예정대로 금년 4분기에 QD 디스플레이 양산을 시작하고요. 제품 출하가 예정되어 있습니다. 그리고 내년부터 그런 세트 시장에 공개될 걸로 지금 계획대로 진행되고 있습니다. 당사 QD 디스플레이는 색전율 그리고 시야각 그리고 휘도 측면에서 기존 제품 대비 그런 강점을 많이 보유하고 있어 프리미엄 TV 시장에서 새로운 표준이 될 것으로 기대하고 있습니다. 당사는 이런 QD 디스플레이를 시장에서 성공적으로 선보일 수 있도록 역량을 집중하고 있으며 향후 대형 사업을 QD 디스플레이 중심으로 안정적으로 전환할 수 있도록 지속 노력하겠습니다.
As you mentioned, also we are on track to mass production and shipment of our QD displays this fourth quarter. We are on track with our original schedules, and according to this, TVs featuring QD displays may be unveiled in the market next year. Our QD displays have many advantages versus existing displays, such as in terms of color reproduction, viewing angle, and brightness. And therefore, we're quite confident that it would set the new standard, especially in the premium TV market. Our current focus is on the successful unveiling of the QD display in the market, and also to make this as the start of a smooth transition of our large size business towards the QD display.
답변 감사합니다. 다음 질문 받겠습니다.
다음으로 질문해 주실 분은 시티그룹의 이세철 님입니다. The next question will be presented by Peter Lee from Citigroup. Please go ahead with your question.
네, 안녕하세요. 시티그룹 이세철입니다. 저는 메모리하고 무선 쪽 질문 드리겠습니다. 먼저 메모리 관련해서 3분기 낸드 빅그로스가 당초 가이던스 대비 다소 하회한 배경이 있는데 하회하였는데요. 이에 대한 배경이 무엇인지 좀 의견 부탁드리겠고요. 두 번째는 그 무선 관련해서 올해 하반기에 출시된 갤럭시 Z Fold 3와 Z Fold Flip 3 판매 흥행이 이번 향후 그 흥행이 있어가지고 향후 폴더폰의 성장 가능성을 좀 보여줬는데요. 올해와 내년에 폴더블 폰 판매 전망에 대한 의견 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
My first question is about your NAND. Your NAND shipment was slightly below your original guidance. Can you give us some details of why? The second question is about the foldable. The successful launch of Galaxy Z Fold 3 and Z Flip 3 has shown the growth potential of the foldable form factors. In that context, can you give us some your guidance for this year as well as next year of your foldable phone sales?
네, 낸드 관련해서 좀 답변드리겠습니다. 저희 그 3분기 낸드 출하량은 저희가 지난 분기에 지시했던 가이던스 대비 이제 소폭 하회를 했는데요. 몇 가지 이유가 있는데, 첫 번째는 클라이언트 SSD가 이제 말씀드린 대로 그 엔드 커스터머의 수요 자체는 견조했는데, 그 다른 부품 수급 이슈가 발생하면서 셋 빌드가 이제 차질이 생겼고, 그래서 그 저희의 그 일부 고객사 재고가 조정이 되면서 특히 로우엔드 PC 쪽에서 이제 클라이언트 SSD가 약세를 좀 봤습니다.
To answer your first question, yes, as you mentioned, our third quarter NAND shipments came in slightly lower than the guidance that we had provided last quarter, which is explained by several reasons. Number one, on the client SSD side, while the PC demand actually remained solid throughout third quarter, there were some supply chain issues with other components that disrupted set build production. Also, some customers went through inventory adjustments, and so there was a soft demand for client SSDs, especially around the low-end PCs.
그리고 모바일 같은 경우에는 이게 이제 계절적 성수기인데 성수기 시기이기 때문에 수요가 견조했습니다. 그런데 이 미드엔드 쪽에 그 AP 부품 공급 이슈가 있어서 저희 MCP 공급이 좀 지연된 영향도 일부 존재했습니다.
Also on the mobile side, even though due to seasonality, the mobile demand itself was also solid, there were some AP-related component supply issues in the mid-end levels, and so there were also some impact due to delay of our MCP supply.
네, 그래서 2분기에 저희가 재고가 아주 낮았거든요. 그래서 이런 상황에서 이제 서버하고 e스토리지 같은 고부가 솔루션 이런 제품으로 이제 믹스를 하자. 그래서 마찬가지로 이제 재고 수준 정상화하자. 이렇게 되면 앞으로 이제 공급의 플렉서빌리티가 제고된다. 이런 측면에 저희가 주안점을 두고서 이번 3분기에는 이제 공급 운영을 했습니다. 이런 점도 말씀드리고 싶습니다.
Well, actually, so while this was happening in the market, we had actually ended the second quarter, came into the third quarter with extremely low inventories. And so we thought that the best way to manage the situation was to focus during third quarter on increasing, building in flexibility for the future by using third quarter to normalize our inventory levels, especially around the high-end solution products such as servers and e-storage.
네, 무선 답변 드리겠습니다. 저희는 폴더블 경험 완성도를 높이고 또 시장을 선도하는 전략을 추진하고 있습니다. 그래서 새로운 G 시리즈는 세련된 디자인 그리고 폴더블의 최적화된 사용성으로 고객들한테 큰 호응을 얻고 있고 폴더블 폰의 대세화를 이끌어가고 있다고 생각합니다. 그리고 특히 비스포크 에디션은 G 플립 3의 그 혁신적인 사용자 경험에 더해서 개인별로 다양한 니즈에 맞춤형으로 부응을 해서 특히 MZ세대 등 젊은 고객들에게 매우 큰 호응을 얻고 있습니다.
As you know, our focus strategy for our foldable has been to enhance the user experience and also to lead the market in foldables. And based on this strategy, by introducing eye-catching designs and also optimizing the foldable usage experience, we have been able to bring up a very positive response from the customers. We think that we have succeeded in actually starting and leading this mainstreaming of foldables in the market. On top of that, with the bespoke edition, the Z Flip 3's innovative user experience is combined with a wide range of customizing and personalization options, and this has generated quite a strong responses from the younger customer segments, for example, Generation MZ.
저희 21년 폴더블 판매량은 전년에 비해서 한 수배 수준으로 성장할 것으로 보이고 22년에도 큰 폭의 성장을 이어갈 수 있을 것으로 전망을 합니다. 그리고 앞으로도 폴더블 제품을 통해서 기술 그리고 사용자 경험 혁신을 계속해가고 적극적인 파트너십과 이코시스템 확대를 추진해서 폴더블 시장이 플래그십 시장의 매우 중요한 카테고리로 자리 잡고 더 성장해 갈 수 있도록 주도하겠습니다.
You've asked about our sales this year and next year. This year, our foldable sales is expected to increase by several times versus what we had last year, and we expect to continue significant growth of our foldable sales even next year. So while we continue to focus on further enhancing our technology and user experience, we will also work on creating stronger partnerships and ecosystem so that the foldable becomes a very important category within the flagship.
네, 답변 감사합니다. 다음 질문 받겠습니다.
다음으로 질문해 주실 분은 HSBC의 리키 서입니다. The next question will be presented by Ricky Seo from HSBC. Please go ahead with your question.
네, 질문 받아주셔서 감사합니다. 저는 메모리하고 네트워크 사업부 관련해서 질문 하나씩 드리겠습니다. 최근에 메모리 가격이 생각보다 좀 급격히 하락하고 있는데요. 삼성에서 보는 D램 낸드 쪽 단기 시황, 그리고 내년도 수요 관련돼서 아까 설명을 해주셨는데 그쪽에서 생각하시는 업사이드 포텐셜하고 다운사이드 리스크가 있으면 좀 더 디테일하게 설명해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 그리고 네트워크 사업부 관련해서 아까 북미 쪽하고 일본에서 굉장히 좋은 성과를 보여주고 있다고 말씀하셨는데, 혹시 그 인도 쪽에 그 LTE하고 뭐 새로 추가되는 5G 주파수 관련해서 사업 진행 현황 그 전망 있으시면 좀 설명해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
My first question is about the memory. It seems that the prices are falling faster than what the market is expecting. Can you share with us, therefore, the short-term market outlook for DRAM and NAND, as well as what you expect to see next year in terms of demand? There are some upside potentials next year as well as downside risk. Can you give us some details of how you perceive these upsides and downsides for next year? Second question is about the network business. During the presentation, you mentioned some of the achievements you're making in North America and Japanese network markets. I'm wondering if there are any updates on Indian market where there are LTE and 5G auctions going on or being discussed. Can you share with us some details about what you are planning or doing in India?
네, 내년 그 메모리 시황 관련해서 답변드리겠습니다. 내년 메모리 시황은 제가 아까 스피치에서 말씀드렸듯이 이게 이제 백투 노멀의 영향, 그리고 부품 수급, 원자재 가격 상승, 이런 그 여러 가지 그 매크로 이슈로 인해서 이게 불확실성이 아주 높은 것이 이게 사실입니다.
To answer your question, I agree that there is quite a lot of uncertainty, especially around various macro issues, such as how the back to normal will pan out, also the component and supply chain issues, and the raw material prices increasing.
그렇지만 이런 리스크 요인만큼이나 중요하게 이제 생각해 볼 수 있는 게 업사이드 요인이거든요. 이것도 내년 전망에 반영해야 되겠다. 우선 이제 저희가 예상한 것보다 장기화되고 있는 전체 전반 응용 전반의 그 세트 생산 차질, 이걸 야기하고 있는 부품 수급 같은 경우에 저희는 이게 전체적인 부품 생산 총량의 문제냐, 그것이 아니고 이게 서플라이 체인 매니지 이슈에 따른 미스매치 문제냐, 이런 거에 더 기인한다고 보고 있고요. 그래서 절대적인 캐파가 부족한 상황보다는 혹시 이제 사태 해결의 신마리가 단기간 내에 나타날 수도 있어요. 그래서 단정적으로 말씀드릴 수는 없는데 아마 2022년 내년도 하반기부터는 상황이 좀 완화되지 않겠냐, 뭐 이런 분위기가 나타날 수 있다고도 이제 생각하고 있습니다.
However, even though there are these headwinds factors, we also need to think about some of the upside potentials that can come next year as we prepare for next year's business. Currently, one of the key issues is the supply chain, the component shortage issue, which has disrupted all various applications, set builds. But when we look at the current component shortage or the supply chain issues, we think that it's not an issue of just absolute shortage of production output of all components, but rather more of a mismatch of the supply chain. And so compared to a case where the problem is caused by an absolute shortage of capacity, things could actually start to improve earlier than expected. Even though it's difficult to say definitively, we're carefully hoping that perhaps the situation may start to somewhat ease from second half of next year.
네, 그리고 수요 이제 말씀드리면 지금 백신 보급이 계속 지속적으로 이제 이루어지니까 전 세계 각국에서 코비드-19과의 공존, with 코비드, 그다음에 back to normal 이런 논의가 활발하게 이제 이루어지고 있는 상황이지 않습니까? 그래서 다시 이제 대면 중심의 경제가 활성화되는 이제 측면이 있습니다. 그런데 그 모습이 팬데믹 이전하고 완전히 같을까? 이런 이제 얘기가 있고요. 과거 2년 동안에 이제 전 세계 소비자들 코비드-19 때문에 발생한 촉발된 이 디지털 기반으로 한 뉴노멀 사회, 이런 생활 방식에 적응해 가니까 어떻게 보면 그 편리함과 효율성을 체험한 거거든요. 이런 경험은 이게 팬데믹이 이제 끝나면서 사라져 버릴 거냐, 아니면 우리 삶에 공존하며 오히려 새로운 단계의 디지털 트랜스포메이션으로 지속 발전해가는 것이 아닐까, 이렇게 생각하고 있습니다. 그리고 이런 전반적인 사회 트렌드와 함께 여기에 맞춰서 신규 CPU라든가 그다음에 주요 데이터 센터의 투자 확대 이런 것이 예상되니까 서버 중심의 펀더멘털한 수요는 지속 견조하지 않을까 이렇게 생각하고 있습니다.
Another factor that may impact demand would be how the post-COVID-19 or with COVID situation will unfold in various countries. With more vaccinations happening, many countries are now moving on to what can be referred to as back to normal or living with COVID-19 policies. This would probably increase the amount of activities that people do face-to-face or in person, but probably we will not be able to go back to the way we did business or lived before the pandemic, because during the past 2 years, consumers have experienced the convenience and efficiency that comes with a digital-based new normal society and lifestyle. And I think that even after the pandemic ends, this will be part of our everyday lives and actually move up to the next level of digital transformation. So given this social trend, and also increased investments in new CPUs and major data centers, it is expected that the fundamental demand, especially around servers, will continue to remain solid.
네, 그리고 우려하고 계신 가격 같은 경우에는 시장에 지금 불확실성이 존재합니다. 그리고 저희가 지금 얘기해 보면 고객사들과의 시황 전망에 대해서도 이제 시각차가 존재하고요. 그래서 가격 협상의 난이도가 올라가고 있는 건 사실이거든요. 그런데 과거 대비 메모리 사이클이 변동폭이라든가 이 주기가 이게 작아졌고요. 또 저희 재고가 아주 낮기 때문에 그렇게 크게 우려할 상황은 아니지 않느냐 이렇게 생각하고 있습니다.
You've mentioned the softer pricing, and there is definitely various uncertainties in the market. And when we talk to customers, we do notice that there is a gap between how we expect the market to unfold versus what the customers are expecting, which also makes our pricing negotiations that much more difficult than before. But given the fact that the memory industry cycle is actually getting weaker in terms of magnitude and also shorter in terms of cycle duration, and also the fact that we're currently running at relatively low inventory levels, we do not think that the current price situation calls for concern.
네, 네트워크 사업 부분 답변드리겠습니다. 인도 시장의 4G 관련해서는 21년 상반기에 7개의 4G 주파수 추가 경매가 있었고, 저희는 4G망 용량 증대를 위한 신규 기지국 장비 그리고 망 최적화 솔루션을 제안해서 신규 사업 기회를 만들어가고 있습니다.
To answer your question about our network business, we have definitely been working in India. The Indian market just went through an auction of 4G frequencies. 7 bands of 4G frequencies were auctioned off during the first half of this year. And so in India, in order to increase the 4G network capacity, there are new projects coming up. And so we are creating business opportunities by proposing new base station equipment and network optimization solutions to Indian carriers.
네, 그리고 5G 사업 기회 관련해서는 저희는 4G 대규모 상용망 구축 경험을 기반으로 향후 5G까지 지속적으로 사업을 확대하기 위해서 통신 사업자와 굳건한 파트너십을 만들고 있고, 또 내년 상반기에 예정된 5G 주파수 경매가 완료되면 그리고 또 5G망 본격 구축을 하게 되면 적기에 제품을 공급하고 사업의 추진 가능하도록 준비하고 있습니다.
We also have in mind the 5G opportunities in India. So leveraging the 4G large-scale commercial network track record that we would have, we are aiming to also expand this to a continuous expansion of our 5G business in India. So with that in mind, we are building very strong partnerships with local carriers. The Indian 5G frequency auction is scheduled for first half of next year, and so once that is done, there will be specific demand for 5G networks. And so currently, we're doing the groundwork of our 5G business so that we would be able to supply the necessary products in a timely manner.
네, 감사합니다. 다음 질문 받겠습니다.
다음으로 질문해 주실 분은 다이와증권의 김성규 님입니다. The next question will be presented by SK Kim from Daiwa Capital Market. Please go ahead with your question.
예, 질문 기회 주셔서 감사합니다. 저는 파운드리 쪽에 질문 하나 있고요. 그리고 IM 쪽에 질문 드리겠습니다. 우선 파운드리 관련해서는 최근에 당사가 경쟁사 대비해서 이 3나노 GAA 공정을 조기에 내년 상반기 중으로 알고 있는데요. 양산한다는 보도가 있었습니다. 이와 관련한 어떤 회사 의견, 그리고 향후 파운드리 기술 로드맵에 대한 공유를 부탁드리고요. 아울러서 지금 최근에 좀 얘기되고 있는 이 중장기 캐파, 파운드리 캐파 확대 계획에 대한 의견, 계획, 이런 내용도 좀 공유 부탁드리겠습니다. IM 관련해서는 지금 올해 계속 지속되는 이 부품 공급 이슈가 3분기에도 영향이 있었던 것 같은데요. 이게 어느 정도 영향이 있었는지, 그리고 4분기에도 이런 상황이 지속될 것 같은지 말씀을 부탁드리고요. 향후 좀 이런 게 완화될 수 있는 시점, 정상화되는 시점과, 그리고 이런 문제들을 해결하기 위해서 회사 측면에서 어떤 대응 전략을 가지고 계신지 의견 부탁드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
My first question is about the recent media report that the company is planning to mass produce its 3-nano GAA process earlier than competitors. According to the report, you're planning to go mass production in the first half of next year. Does the company have any comments, or can you offer some details about the technology roadmap for your foundry business? Also, in that context, can you share with us some comments or plans regarding your mid to long-term capacity expansion for the foundries? Second question is about the IM side. It seems that the supply chain, the component supply issues did have an impact on your third quarter business. Can you quantify that impact? And also, do you think that this will continue in your fourth quarter? When do you think the situation would ease, and how is the company coping with the component shortage?
예, 파운드리 답변 먼저 드리겠습니다. 질문하신 3나노 1세대 혹은 3나노 공정은 현재 22년 상반기 양산 목표로 공정 개발이 정상 진행 중입니다. 공정 개발, 제조, 인프라 역량 혁신을 통해서 3나노 2세대 GAA 공정에서 파워 퍼포먼스 에어리어 개선을 통해서 GAA 공정 기술에서 다시 삼성의 리더십을 더욱 확대할 수 있을 것으로 기대하고 있습니다.
To answer your first question, we are currently on track with target of mass production of our 3-nano GAA process during the first half of next year, and also by further enhancing and innovating not only our process development but also manufacturing and infrastructure capabilities. We want to prove once again Samsung's leadership in GAA process technology by further enhancing our power performance area in the GAA process as we prepare for the second generation 3-nano.
예, 캐패시티의 경우에 평택의 캐파 확대 및 미국 팹 신설 검토 등 EUV 공정에서 고객 니즈를 최대 충족할 수 있는 양산 캐파를 확보하기 위해서 인프라와 장비 등 전례 없는 투자를 진행하고 있습니다. 이런 계획에 따라서 17년 대비 현재 21년 현재 캐파가 약 1.8배 확대되어 있고요. 26년까지는 약 3배 가까이 큰 폭으로 캐파를 확대할 계획입니다. 당사는 양산 캐파를 최대한 확보해서 고객 수요를 충족시키기 위해서 노력할 것입니다.
In terms of our capacity plans, currently we are going through unprecedented investments in both infrastructure and equipment with the aim of securing a sufficient mass production capacity to satisfy the customer's needs as much as possible in the EUV process by expanding our Pyeongtaek capacity but also studying the construction of a new fab in the U.S. If you compare some of our capacity numbers, our capacity as of 2021 has increased by around 1.8 times versus the capacity in 2017. Going forward, we're planning even steeper capacity increases by around 3 times of our capacity by year 2026. And so we are focused on securing as much as maximum mass production capacity to satisfy customer needs.
네, 무선 부분 답변드리겠습니다. 그 부품 수급 이슈로 3분기 판매량에 상당폭 영향이 있었습니다. 그리고 단기간 내 해소는 어려울 것으로 보여서 4분기에도 영향이 이어질 것으로 예상이 됩니다. 그 수급 이슈가 언제 해소될지 지금 예단하기는 어렵겠지만 저희는 파트너사와의 전략적 협력을 통해서 부품, 입고, 그리고 제품 생산, 거래선 배송까지 이어지는 공급 리드타임 최적화를 하고 또 부품 공급을 효율적으로 리밸런싱해서 영향을 최소화하도록 노력하고 있습니다.
Regarding the impact of the chip shortage on the IM production in third quarter, there was definitely a considerable impact on our third quarter sales volume. The situation does not appear to be easing, so it seems that even the fourth quarter will also have to bear with the part or component supply issues. It's difficult at this point to predict when situation would improve, but we have optimized our supply lead time by strategic partnerships with our partners, so that we are able to at least optimize the part of the lead time or supply chain that comes within our control, such as receiving the components, using that to produce the product, and also shipping the finished products to the channels. At the same time, we're also focusing on minimizing the impact by diversifying our sources and also going through rebalancing of our component supply.
이 수급 상황이 안정화된 이후에도 지속적으로 주요 벤더들과 전략적 협업을 이어가서 시장 변화에 능동적으로 대응할 수 있는 체계를 더욱 강화해 나가겠습니다.
And not just as a temporary response, even after the situation stabilizes, we will actually strengthen our proactive response system to market changes through strategic partnerships and collaboration with the key vendors on an ongoing basis.
답변 감사합니다. 다음 질문 받겠습니다.
다음으로 질문해 주실 분은 KB증권의 김동원 님입니다. The next question will be presented by Dong-won Kim from KB Securities. Please go ahead with your question.
예, 질문 기회 감사드립니다. 저는 메모리와 가전 부문에 질문드리겠습니다. 첫 번째로 메모리 사이클 관련입니다. 이번 다운 사이클이 과거 대비 진폭과 주기가 짧아질 것으로 말씀을 하셨는데요. 이처럼 예상하시는 근거와 이유에 대해서 의견 부탁드리겠습니다. 두 번째는 TV 수요 관련입니다. 코로나 펜트업 수요 이후에 내구재 소비가 감소하면서 TV 수요 전망이 최근 하향 조정 추세에 있는 것 같습니다. 반면에 초대형 QLED와 OLED 등 프리미엄 TV 수요는 증가되고 있는 것으로 보이는데요. 향후 TV 수요 전망과 이에 대한 VD 전략 공유 부탁드리겠습니다. 이상입니다.
My first question is about the memory business. You mentioned that the memory down cycle is expected to be less in terms of magnitude and also shorter than before. Can you give us some of the reasons why you expect that? Second question is about the TV business. Even though there was this pent-up demand after COVID-19, at the tail of that, it seems that there is a softness in consumer durable demand, and overall TV demand outlooks are being downward adjusted. Of course, despite that overall TV market trend, the premium segment continues to do very well. So given that market situation, can you share with us your strategy for the VD business?
네, 메모리 사이클 관련해서 이제 말씀드리면 이 주기 축소의 이유가 저희는 한 세 가지 정도로 보고 있는데요. 첫 번째가 이제 응용처의 다변화가 있습니다. 과거에는 메모리 수의 대부분이 PC에 한정돼 있었는데 포션이 컸는데 이제는 저희 메모리를 사용하는 응용처가 아주 다양해졌고요. 그래서 일반적으로 포트폴리오가 다양화되면 이 변동성의 폭이나 그다음에 이게 주기가 줄어들지 않겠습니까? 이런 비슷한 현상이 메모리 시장에서도 나타나고 있다 이렇게 생각합니다.
The reason why we think that the down cycle will be less in magnitude and shorter is threefold. One is the fact that the applications have become much more diverse than before. Previously, the main source of memory demand was the PC, but now memory is being used in a far wider range of applications. It's similar to how a portfolio volatility decreases if it's well diversified. I think a similar situation is happening in the memory market.
그리고 이제 저희 메모리 공정이 이제 미세화되고요. 그래서 그 난이도가 급격히 올라가 있는 것도 이제 또 하나의 이유인데, 이 공정 난이도가 상승이 되면 저희가 그 과거 같은 빗 그로스를 유지하는 게 쉽지가 않거든요. 그래서 쇼티지가 전망이 된다. 이런 상황에서도 생산 램프업을 급격하게 늘리는 게 이제 제약이 따르게 됩니다. 저희는 현재 상황도 그 영향의 한 예라고 보는데요. 앞에 제가 말씀드린 것처럼 저희 재고가 지난 분기에 이어서도 계속 굉장히 낮은 수준으로 유지되고 있습니다. 굉장히 린한데, 그래서 2018년도 이런 과도하게 다운 사이클이 발생하는 그런 가능성도 굉장히 낮을 거다 이렇게 전망하고 있습니다.
Another reason for the change in the down cycle is because we're now working with cutting edge, very difficult memory processes. Because of the difficulty of the technology, it's not as easy to maintain the same level of bit growth as before, and there are restrictions and limitations in rapidly increasing memory output. I think we are currently experiencing a part of that impact. For example, our inventory continues to remain at very lean levels past quarter as well as this quarter. So I think the difficulty of the memory process technology will also be a reason why the possibility of an extreme down cycle as what we saw in 2008 is low.
근데 마지막 이유로 말씀드리자면 그 과거에 삼성전자 같은 공급사나 그다음에 고객사가 전부 좀 극심한 쇼티지, 극심한 오버서플라이 이런 걸 겪었거든요. 그러면서 이제 인더스트리 내에서는 시장 전반의 건전성 확보에 대한 필요성이 진짜 대두됐고 레슨런을 한 거죠. 그래서 이를 통해서 서플라이 체인 매니지먼트라든가 그다음에 리스크 매니지먼트 같은 능력이 이제 과거보다는 많이 향상되었거든요. 이런 것도 원인의 하나라고 이제 생각해 볼 수 있다 이렇게 말씀드리고 싶습니다.
And the third reason is that basically both the vendors and the customers have learned their lesson during the past extreme shortage and also oversupply, that it's best for the entire market to maintain a level of rationality and soundness, and that has also improved the SEM and crisis management capabilities of participants in the memory market, and I think that would also contribute to improving the down cycle.
네, TV 질문 주신 거에 답변 드리겠습니다. 말씀하신 것처럼 올 상반기까지 이어졌던 TV 시장 펜트업 수요가 둔화되면서 4분기 TV 수요는 전년 대비는 감소할 것으로 예상됩니다. 또 아시다시피 코로나 백신 접종률이 올라가면서 선진 시장을 중심으로 위드 코로나 정책이 시행되고 있는데 이로 인해서 집밖 외부 활동이 늘어나고 있는 트렌드로 TV 수요에 영향을 미칠 것으로 보입니다. 이런 시장 추이는 적어도 내년 상반기까지는 지속될 것으로 예상됩니다만 하반기에는 글로벌 스포츠 이벤트 등의 개최 영향으로 현장감을 극대화하는 초대형 고화질 TV에 대한 소비자 니즈가 증가하면서 유럽, 남미 등 주요 시장에서 판매 기회가 있을 것으로 예상됩니다.
To answer your question about the TV market outlook, as you mentioned, yes, there was that pent-up demand in the TV market that continued until around first half of this year. Some of that is leveling off, and we expect that TV demand in Q4 will decrease slightly on a year-over-year basis. Another factor we have to expect is the impact the living with corona policies may have on the TV demand with higher vaccination rates, especially around developed markets. There are easing of social distancing. People will spend more time outside, and this may have an impact on TV demand. But also, looking towards next year, there are some positive factors. For example, there is the global sports event happening in the second half of next year, which will drive the consumer needs for large size and high quality TVs that gives that immersive experience. And this will be a great opportunity for us to expand our sales, especially in key markets such as Europe and Latin America.
또한 그 프리미엄 TV에 대한 수요는 내년에도 계속 증가할 것으로 예상되고 있고, 당사는 네오 QLED 8K 등 전략 제품을 활용한 고부가 제품 시장 공략을 통해서 시장 정체를 극복할 계획입니다. 또한 판매 호조를 보이고 있는 네오 QLED의 경우에는 내년에도 최고 수준 화질과 디자인을 바탕으로 게임, 재택근무, 홈 피트니스 등 코로나로 인해 변화하는 소비자 생활에 차별화된 이놈 액티비티 밸류를 제공해서 프리미엄 시장을 계속 주도할 예정입니다. 그리고 기존 TV가 제공하지 못하는 다양한 밸류를 갖춘 라이프스타일 제품군 판매 확대를 통해서 정체된 TV 시장의 신규 수요를 지속 창출하고 성장을 추진해 나가겠습니다.
Despite the stagnation of the TV market, the premium TV demand is expected to continue to grow even next year, and so therefore our strategy is to focus on Neo QLED 8K and these strategic products to target the high-end segment of the market to overcome the softer market demand. Also, our Neo QLED is already showing very positive sales performance, but we think that will continue on next year because Neo QLED is a product that offers the market's best picture quality and design and does provide a differentiated in-home activity value to consumers who are now doing various activities at home. In addition to gaming, they're working and also doing home fitness at home. And Neo QLED is has been providing that value, especially to consumers in the premium segment. In addition to this, the lifestyle TV product groups would also be a major focus for us next year. It provides various values that are not provided by existing TVs, and so the lifestyle product group would be another way we plan to create new demand among a stagnated TV market and deliver continued growth.
답변 감사합니다. 다음 질문 받겠습니다.
다음으로 질문해 주실 분은 UBS의 니콜라 고도아입니다. The next question will be presented by Nicola Godoa from UBS. Please go ahead with your question.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my question. So, considering the recent trend in memory pricing, are you at this stage reconsidering your investment plans for 2022 for both DRAM and NAND flash in terms of number one, the amount of new capacity you plan to roll out, and number two, the timing of the equipment delivery? Thank you.
네, 그 메모리와 관련이 된 그 투자 계획에 대한 질문입니다. 지금 메모리 가격의 현재 시황을 고려했을 때 내년도 2022년도 그 DRAM과 NAND 쪽에 있어서 투자 계획을 조정을 재고를 하고 계시지는 않은지, 즉 신규 캐파의 규모 그리고 그 시기에 대해서 지금 재검토를 하고 계시는지 궁금합니다.
네, 메모리 투자 관련해서는 제가 간단히 말씀드릴 텐데요. 그러니까 지금 불확실성이 다소 존재합니다. 그래서 내부적으로는 계속 이 투자 계획을 논의 중이고요. 특히 이제 그 규모 그리고 투자 방향 이런 것들은 저희가 지금 아주 매우 신중한 검토를 바탕으로 이제 결정될 예정입니다.
To answer your question, given the large number of uncertainties that remain at this point, we are currently continuing to discuss our detailed investment plans. These are discussions for both in terms of the size of our investment as well as the detailed direction. And so we are practicing particularly high level of care and caution as we try to work out next year's investment plans.
그리고 이건 제가 계속 말씀드렸는데 그 인프라 투자는 중장기 수요 대응을 위해서 계속한다. 그렇지만 이제 설비 투자는 유연하게 업황에 연계해서 투자한다. 이런 기조를 그냥 계속 갖고 있고요, 저희가. 근데 그 기본 원칙은 지속 가능한 이익, 이걸 강화하자. 지속 가능한 이익의 기반을 강화하자. 이런 걸 고려해서 투자와 캐파 운영은 계속할 생각입니다.
And so our basic approach to investments remain the same. You have heard before that our focus is to continue to maintain the investments in infrastructure at right levels so that we are prepared to meet mid to long-term demand. But in terms of equipment investment execution, to do that flexibly, tied with the market situation, that approach still applies. And our basic goal is to increase the foundation that we have for sustainable profit generation. And so our investments as well as capacity operation will be adjusted according to that goal.
예, 감사합니다. 시간 관계상 질문 하나만 더 받겠습니다.
마지막으로 질문해 주실 분은 한국투자증권의 이원식 님입니다. The last question will be presented by Won-sik Lee from Korea Investment & Securities. Please go ahead with your question.
네, 질문 기회 주셔서 감사합니다. 저는 D램 쪽 그리고 디스플레이 쪽 각각 한 개씩 질문 드리도록 하겠습니다. 그 D램 쪽은 현재 저희 14나노 공정에 대해서 시장의 우려가 굉장히 많은 것 같습니다. 현재 14나노 생산 수율에 대해서 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다. 디스플레이 부분은 현재 저희 리지드, 플렉서블, OLED 생산 라인들의 가동률이 거의 풀리 다 가동이 되고 있는 것으로 파악이 됩니다. 향후 중소형 OLED 캐파 확대 계획 그리고 OLED 적용처의 확대 전략 계획에 대해서 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
My first question is about the concern of the 1A nano, the 14 nano production yield that is in the market. Can you give us some updates of where your yield currently stands? Second question is about the display, the OLEDs. It seems that your rigid and flexible OLED is running at almost full capacity. Can you give us some details about your capacity expansion plans for the mid to small size and also how you plan to expand to new applications?
네, 14나노 말씀드리자면 저희 14나노 제품 수율 우려가 있다고 말씀해 주셨는데요. 최근에 저희 14나노 공정 이 램프업 올라가는 속도가 15나노 공정에 비교해서 저희 내부에서도 와 이거 진짜 빠르다, 굉장히 빠르다 그래서 놀라울 정도로 빨라서 그렇게 걱정 안 하셔도 될 것 같습니다.
You've mentioned that the market is very worried about our 14 nano production yield, but actually internally we're pleasantly being surprised by the fast speed of ramp up that we're seeing on our 14 nano, at least versus the previous generation. So I don't think there is any reason to be concerned.
그리고 계속 말씀드렸지만 저희 14나노는 이게 EUV 노하우하고 EUV 관련한 생태계 바탕으로 원가 경쟁력을 강화하는 제품이거든요. 그래서 이제 램프업도 제궤도에 올려왔고 이 램프업도 굉장히 빠르고 하니까 진짜 명실상부한 저희 리더십을 지속 유지할 수 있다 이렇게 생각하고 있습니다. 감사합니다.
As we've mentioned during previous conference call, the rationale behind our 14 nano process is that it leverages our EUV know-how, but also uses the ecosystem that we have developed in order to give us stronger cost competitiveness. And as we've just mentioned, we are ramping up quite fast. We are there. And so we are confident that with our 14 nano technology, we will be able to maintain our technology leadership.
네, 두 번째 질문 주신 디스플레이 부분 답변드리겠습니다. 첫 번째 질문이 이제 중소형 캐파에 대한 질문이신데요. 질문 주신 것처럼 현재 OLED 가동률은 매우 좋은 상황입니다. 내년도 고객 수요가 저희는 충분하다고 판단하고 있고요. 높은 수준의 가동률이 유지될 걸로 현재 전망되고 있습니다. 근데 저희 플렉시블 OLED 라인에서는 저희가 새로운 기술들, 예를 들어서 홀 디스플레이라든지 터치 같은 그런 고성능 기능들이 지속적으로 추가되기 때문에 일부 캐파의 비효율이 발생하고 있는 게 사실입니다. 그래서 이러한 비효율을 개선하기 위해서 저희가 라인 최적화를 위한 보완 투자는 지속적으로 진행할 계획이고, 이를 위해서 필요하다면 저희 기존 현재 유효 LCD 라인을 적극적으로 활용할 계획입니다.
To answer your question about our OLED displays, as you mentioned, our OLED utilization is very good. Also, given the fact that the customer demand is expected to remain strong next year, probably this high level of utilization will go on until next year. However, we have seen some areas for improvement in terms of our efficiency, especially around the flexible OLED. For example, we're not able to use some of the capacity when we have to add in high performances such as whole displays or touch features. And so in order to improve that, we have continued to make supplemental investments to optimize our line. And if necessary, we're considering the use of some of our idle LCD lines.
네, 그리고 또 이뿐만 아니라 현재 빠르게 성장하고 있는 폴더블 디스플레이 수요 대응을 위해서 저희가 적기에 모듈 투자는 필요할 것으로 판단하고 있습니다. 그래서 이러한 모듈 라인 투자에 대해서는 적극적으로 검토를 하고 있으며 이를 통해서 폴더블 제품을 기존 고객뿐만 아니라 글로벌 고객들로 다변화해서 시장의 리더십을 공고히 할 예정입니다.
Another area where we want to make capacity investments would be in the module lines to capture the foldable demand. Foldable demand is rapidly growing. It is expected to continue growth. So we are planning to make investments to expand our module line in a timely manner. This will enable us to supply to not only existing customers but also diversify our customers globally.
네, 그리고 두 번째 질문 주신 게 이제 저희 스마트폰 외에 신규 응용처의 확대에 대한 질문에 대해서 저희가 답변을 드리겠습니다. 잘 질문 주신 것처럼 현재 OLED 패널은 다행히 최근 스마트폰 이외에도 노트북, 게임기 등에 본격적으로 적용되고 있고 그 사용처가 확대되는 것이 사실입니다. 내년 저희가 이제 그 애플리케이션별 생산량이 현재 계획 단계이기는 하지만 노트북이나 태블릿 전 제품은 금년 대비 2배 이상 성장할 걸로 저희는 예상하고 있습니다. 그래서 지금까지 해왔던 것과 마찬가지로 스마트폰 이외에 고성장 애플리케이션에도 저희 OLED의 리더십을 공고히 할 예정이고 이를 통해 PMIX 고도화 그래서 저희 중소형 사업의 고질적이던 그런 시저널리티 문제들도 적극적으로 개선해 나갈 예정입니다. 이뿐만 아니라 올해 저희 당사는 전기 자동차 그리고 자율주행 등으로 급성장 중인 오토모티브 시장에서도 의미 있는 성과를 많이 내었습니다. 당사는 이러한 스마트폰을 비롯한 다양한 애플리케이션 오토 시장에서 저희가 우위를 지속적으로 가져갈 수 있도록 저희 전사 역량을 다하도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
You've also asked about how we're diversifying the OLED applications, and unfortunately, as you mentioned, the OLED panels have recently been used not only in smartphones but in other devices such as laptops and game devices. We're currently trying to work out our output for each of these applications. We're still planning that, but roughly we think that our OLED displays for laptops or tablet products would probably increase around two times in terms of sales versus this year. And so we are going to focus on capturing and maintaining OLED leadership in other high growth applications in addition to smartphones. And this diversification of the product mix will also help us better cope with the repeated seasonality that we have gone through in the mid to small size panel business. Also, I think it's meaningful to share the fact that this year we've also had some wins in the auto market, which is also rapidly growing with the adoption of EVs and autonomous driving. So going forward, our OLED business will focus on supplying to various applications, including smartphones, and also to winning the leadership in the auto market.
네, 감사합니다. 마지막으로 저희가 온라인을 통해서 사전에 취합한 질문에 대해서 답변을 드리도록 하겠습니다. 지난번 실적 발표부터 개인 투자자들과의 소통 강화 및 이해 제고를 위해서 홈페이지를 통해 사전 질문을 할 수 있도록 했고, 이번 분기에도 많은 분들께서 다양한 질문을 남겨주셨습니다. 이 중 대부분은 앞에서 진행된 질의응답에서 충분히 설명이 된 것으로 보이며, 거론되지 않은 질문 중에서 주주들의 관심이 높은 두 가지 사안에 대해 추가적으로 답변을 드리고 마치도록 하겠습니다.
Finally, we will answer questions that were submitted online in advance. As you know, starting from last earnings conference call, we've accepted questions via our webpage in advance. And this was part of our efforts to strengthen communication, especially with our retail investors, and enhance the understanding of the company. A variety of questions were submitted this quarter as well. I believe the majority of the submitted questions were sufficiently answered during the Q&A session, so we will answer 2 more questions on topics that actually received a high level of interest from our shareholders, but were not addressed during the Q&A. So the first question is, recently, global big tech companies have jumped into the
네, 제가 그 질문을 읽도록 하겠습니다. 첫 번째 질문은 최근 글로벌 빅테크 기업들이 자체 반도체 개발 나서는 상황에서 삼성이 현재 위탁 생산과 관련해서 선도 경쟁사에 비해 우위에 있는 점은 무엇인지와 장기적으로 기술적 우위를 가질 수 있는 비전이 별도로 있는지 여부에 대해 의견을 부탁드립니다. 이 질문에 대해서는 파운드리의 한승훈 전무가 답변을 해주시겠습니다.
So the first question goes to the foundry business. The question is, recently global big tech companies have jumped into the development of their own semiconductors. Against this backdrop, I would like to know in which areas Samsung has an advantage over the leading competitors and whether it has a separate vision to gain long-term technology leadership. This will be answered by Mr. Seung-Hoon Han of the foundry business.
예. 말씀 주신 대로 4차 산업혁명 시대가 도래하면서 팹리스 업체들로부터 나온 아이디어를 실제 반도체 칩으로 구현하는 파운드리의 역할이 점점 중요해지는 것이 사실입니다. 특히 AI, 자율주행, 5G, 모바일 SoC 등 첨단 반도체 수요에 대응하기 위해서 치열하고 집중적인 R&D를 통해서 선단 공정 기술력을 확보하는 것이 핵심입니다.
Yes, as you mentioned, in this age of the fourth industrial revolution, the importance of foundries has actually increased because it is the foundry that implements the ideas from the fabless companies into silicon. So in order to meet the demand for especially the cutting edge chips such as AI, autonomous driving, 5G and mobile SoCs, it's critical for foundries to gain the cutting edge leading process technology through intensive R&D.
파운드리 사업 성장을 위해서 첫 번째, 첨단 기술 공정 확보와 두 번째, 응용처별 설계 솔루션 제공, 세 번째, 동시에 충분한 캐패시티 운영이 중요합니다. 팹리스 고객에게 최적화된 공정 솔루션을 제공하고자 당사는 업계 최초로 새로운 아키텍처인 GAA를 최선단 공정인 3나노에 적용하여 내년도에 양산 예정이고, 응용처별 핵심 IP를 확보함과 동시에 헤테로지니어스 인테그레이션을 기반으로 강화된 패키징 기술을 통한 디자인 플랫폼으로 고객의 설계를 지원할 것입니다.
In order to grow the foundry business, we think that there's 3 critical elements that need to be addressed. One is, as I just mentioned, to have that advanced cutting-edge process technology. Number 2 would also be providing the design solutions for different applications. Number 3 is, of course, to support that with sufficient capacity. And in order to provide the optimized process solutions for our fabless customers, we, for example, are planning to apply first in the industry the new architecture GAA in the cutting-edge process of 3 nano, starting mass production next year. Also, we have been providing the design platform to support the customer's design efforts. And our design platform is supported by not only core IP for each of the applications, but also a packaging technology that strengthens strengthened packaging technology based on a heterogeneous integration.
또한 앞서 언급한 대규모 투자 및 라인 운영 최적화를 위해서도 최선을 다하고 있으며 당사의 이러한 노력이 점차 가시적으로 나타날 것으로 전망합니다. 위 말씀드린 3가지 핵심 성장 요인에 지속적으로 집중하여 업계 내 삼성 파운드리 경쟁력을 더욱 공고히 할 것입니다.
Of course, to satisfy the sufficient capacity, we have been making large-scale investments and also optimizing our line operation. And we think that the results of these endeavors will become visible gradually. By continuing to focus on these three key success factors, we will deliver stronger competitiveness of Samsung Foundry.
네, 감사합니다. 오늘의 마지막 질문은 투자자 질문으로서 지난해 4분기에 특별 배당이 있었는데 올해도 4분기에 특별 배당을 실시할 계획이 있는지 및 배당이 아닌 자사주 매입으로 시행할 가능성도 있는지 궁금합니다. 이며 이 질문은 제가 답변 드리도록 하겠습니다.
And the second question that we got from online was about the dividends. The question is, Samsung gave a special dividend in the fourth quarter of last year. Are you planning to give out a special dividend this fourth quarter as well? And is there a possibility of using that for a buyback rather than a payout?
네, 지난 1월 20일부터 2023년까지 3년간 주주환원 정책에서 말씀드린 바와 같이 금년부터는 저희가 4분기 실적 발표할 때 연간 프리 캐시플로우 규모를 공유를 하고 기존 배당 이상의 의미 있는 규모의 잔여 재원이 발생할 경우 일부 조기 환원을 적극적으로 검토한다는 계획에는 변함이 없습니다.
In January, we announced our 3-year shareholder policy covering the period of 2021 through 2023, and we remain unchanged that starting with this year's fourth quarter results, we will announce our annual free cash flow and seriously consider a partial payout if there is a sufficient surplus beyond the annual dividend.
따라서 당초 예정한 대로 2021년 실적을 마감한 후에 프리 캐시플로우 규모와 조기 환원 여부를 공유하도록 하겠습니다. 근데 그게 이제 배당 또는 자사주 매입 및 소각 등 주주 환원 집행에 있어서 특정한 방법을 정해놓은 것은 아닙니다. 사업별 업황 전망, 매크로 상황 및 증시 동향 등 제반 여건을 저희가 감안해서 주주, 이해관계자, 회사에 가장 도움이 되는 방법으로 진행할 예정입니다.
So therefore, we will share our free cash flow and whether we will execute such early payout once the 2021 results are confirmed. However, we have not finalized the method of early returns, whether it will be through dividends or buyback or cancellation, but we plan to fulfill the policy in a way that provides the most benefit to our shareholders, stakeholders, and the company, considering overall environments, including the market condition and outlook by business, macro factors, and the stock market trend.
네, 제한된 시간 관계상 부득이하게 투자자들께서 남겨주신 질문에 대해 전부 답변을 드리지는 못했지만 소중한 의견에 감사드리며 주요한 경영의사 결정에 참고토록 하겠습니다. 그럼 이것으로 이번 분기 컨퍼런스 콜을 마치도록 하겠습니다. 여러분과 가족들의 건강과 안전을 기원합니다. 감사합니다.
Due to the limited time, we're unfortunately unable to answer every question that was submitted, but I would like to thank everybody who shared their opinion, providing us with valuable information to refer to in our decision-making process. And that completes our conference call for this quarter. We wish all of you and those close to you stay strong and in good health. Thank you.